You are lying in bed, staring at the ceiling in the dark, afraid to move even an inch. You know that if you shift your hips just slightly to the left or try to roll over to find a cool spot on the pillow, that familiar stabbing sharp burst of pain is going to shoot through your lower back like a bolt of lightning. It is not just a dull ache anymore. It has evolved into a searing, debilitating burning sensation that travels relentlessly down your buttock, through the back of your thigh, and settles deep into your calf. Perhaps for you, the worst part isn't even the pain itself, but the terrifying numbness that follows it. You might be walking to the kitchen for a glass of water, and suddenly, you feel like you are stepping on pins and needles. Or worse, you can't feel the floor at all. Your foot catches on the rug. You stumble. This is what medical professionals call drop foot. But to you, it feels like your body is slowly disconnecting from your brain. It feels like a loss of control. And if you have been to a specialist recently, they likely pointed to an X-ray of your spine and told you that your discs are degenerating or that you are simply getting older. They tell you to go to physical therapy. They tell you to stretch. They hand you a prescription for a painkiller that makes you feel foggy and constipated, and they send you home. But I need you to listen very closely to what I am about to say. If you are blindly stretching your hamstrings or doing yoga to fix this, you might be causing permanent damage to your nerve endings right now. The research we are analyzing at BioVeritas Lab suggests that for millions of people over the age of 50, sciatica is not a mechanical problem caused by a tight muscle or a bad bone. It is a biological problem. It is a chemical crisis happening inside the nerve itself. Your nerves are not just being pinched. They are starving. They are being attacked by a silent mechanism called nerve oxidation. Think of it like rust forming on an old copper wire. When that wire rusts, the electricity cannot flow. The signal gets distorted. That distortion is the pain you feel, and no amount of stretching is going to scrub that rust away. In fact, stretching a starving, rusting nerve is like pulling on a frayed rope. It only causes it to snap faster. Today, we are going to look at the evidence your doctor missed. We are going to uncover why your sciatic nerve is shriveling up and dying, and we are going to discuss the ancient compound that researchers are now calling a nerve reset button. Let's look at the reality of your current situation. You have probably spent hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars on chiropractors, massage therapists, and ergonomic chairs. You have tried the creams that smell like menthol and promise relief that never lasts more than 20 minutes. Why do these things fail? They fail because they are treating the smoke, not the fire. When you feel that searing burning running down your leg, your body is sounding a desperate alarm. It is screaming that the nerve cells are under attack. In a healthy body, your nerves are coated in a protective sheath, almost like the plastic insulation around an electrical cord. This sheath ensures that signals travel from your brain to your toes instantly and smoothly. But as we age, a process known as oxidative stress begins to accelerate. Oxidative stress is essentially biological rust. It is caused by rogue molecules called free radicals. Now, usually your body can fight these off. But after the age of 50, your natural defense systems slow down. The free radicals begin to overwhelm your nervous system. They start to eat away at that protective sheath. This is the mechanism that most general practitioners ignore. They look at the spine, they look at the bones, but they don't look at the microscopic health of the nerve cell itself. When this protective coating wears down, the raw nerve is exposed. It starts to shrivel up. It begins to misfire. This is why you feel pain even when you are lying perfectly still. You aren't moving, so why does it hurt? Because the nerve is degenerating from the inside out. Now, imagine taking that exposed, raw, sensitive nerve wire and stretching it. Imagine doing deep lunges or touching your toes. You are physically aggravating a structure that is already chemically inflamed. This is why so many of you write to me saying, "I did my physical therapy, and I feel worse today than I did yesterday." It is not your fault. You were given the wrong tool for the job. You cannot stretch away cellular oxidation. So, if we can't stretch it away, and we can numb it away with dangerous opioids that only mask the symptom while the nerve continues to die, what can we do? We have to look at how to stop the oxidation. We have to look at how to feed the nerve. This brings us to a fascinating discovery that has recently resurfaced from the texts of ancient Vedic scholars. It involves a creeping herb that modern science is finally catching up to. In our analysis of recent studies, One specific bioactive compound keeps appearing in the data regarding neural regeneration. It is a humble perennial herb known scientifically as Bacopa. For centuries, this herb was used in traditional medicine, but not for back pain. It was used as a brain tonic, a way to sharpen the mind. However, what modern researchers have discovered is that the sciatic nerve is essentially an extension of the brain. It is the longest wire in your body's electrical system. What makes Bacopa Monnieri so interesting to us at the lab isn't just that it reduces inflammation. Many things do that. It is that it appears to act as a nerve tonic. The study suggests that the active compounds in this herb can cross the blood-brain barrier and help combat the specific type of oxidative stress that targets nerve endings. It helps to neutralize those free radicals we talked about, the rust that is eating your nerves. Think of it as applying a layer of anti-rust coating to that copper wire. It stops the corrosion. But here's where the science gets complex, and where most people fail. You cannot simply go to a health food store, buy a bag of dried Bacopa, brew a tea, and expect your 20 years of sciatica to vanish overnight. Biology is about synergy. Your nerves require a specific environment to rebuild. Just as you cannot build a house with only bricks, you also need mortars. Wood and steel, your nerves need a combination of nutrients to trigger a true repair process. We have seen data suggesting that while Bacopa is the trigger, it needs to be supported by a precise blend of vitamins and minerals to fuel the regeneration. For example, without specific biovitamins in the right methylated forms, the nerve cannot build the energy it needs to repair that protective sheath. Without magnesium in the correct dosage, the signals remain erratic and firing uncontrollably, leading to those spasms that wake you up at 3 a.m. I am curious, and I want you to pause for a second and think about your own routine. Have you noticed that your sciatica gets worse after you eat certain foods? Perhaps after a heavy meal of processed carbohydrates or high-sugar fruits? Drop a comment below. Tell me, yes, sugar makes it burn more, or no, I haven't noticed. I ask this because sugar is one of the primary drivers of that oxidative rust. If you are eating healthy fruit, smoothies full of fructose every morning, and then taking a basic nerve supplement, you are essentially pouring water on a fire, while simultaneously pouring gasoline on it from the other side. This leads us to the terrifying reality of nerve starvation. When the nerve is starved of these specific nutrients and, when the blood flow is restricted by inflammation, the nerve eventually reaches a point of no return. The medical term for this is necrosis, death of the tissue. This is what leads to that numbness in your feet. The dropped foot, the pins and needles, these are not just annoying symptoms. They are the final warning shots. They are your body telling you that the connection is about to be severed permanently. And the darker side of this, the side no one wants to talk about at the dinner table, is what happens when that nerve damage moves upward. The sciatic nerve roots control more than just your legs. They send signals to your bladder and your bowels. We have read countless reports from patients who were too embarrassed to tell their families that they started experiencing incontinence. They thought it was just old age. It wasn't. It was the sciatica advancing. It was the nerves dying. This is why I am so passionate about telling you to stop ignoring the biological cause. The fear of becoming a burden to your children. The fear of losing your independence. The fear of the retirement home. These are valid fears, but they are not inevitable. You do not have to accept this as your fate. The problem is that the modern medical industry is designed to treat acute trauma, not chronic degeneration. If you break your leg, go to a hospital. But if your nerves are slowly starving and oxidizing over decades, the hospital has very few tools for you other than surgery. And surgery is a coin toss. We've seen the statistics. Failed back surgery syndrome is so common, it actually has its own medical diagnosis code. Think about that. They have a code for when their solution fails you. So, we know that stretching is dangerous for inflamed nerves. We know that painkillers only mask the signal. And we know that surgery is a high-risk gamble. We also know that Bacopa Monnieri shows incredible promise, but only when combined with the right synergistic nutrients to stop the oxidation and feed the starving nerve. This brings me to a specific protocol that has recently come to light. There is a documented case of a woman named Sarah who is in a situation very similar to yours. She was struggling to walk, relying on painkillers, and terrifyingly close to spinal surgery. She discovered a specific method, a way to combine these ancient ingredients into a simple daily ritual that takes about 11 seconds. It doesn't involve hour-long exercises. It doesn't involve prescription drugs. It focuses entirely on that concept of nerve resetting. It focuses on flooding the nerve endings with the exact nutrients they have been starved of for years, stopping the oxidative rust and allowing the protective sheath to grow back. We have reviewed the details of this protocol, and the results are something that every person over the age of 60 needs to see. It challenges the standard advice of rest and painkillers and offers a path to actually fixing the root cause, the biological starvation of your nerves. Because the details of this protocol are extensive and because it involves a specific combination of ingredients that need to be understood fully. We have linked the full investigative documentary below. This is not a short clip. It is a comprehensive report that explains exactly how Sarah used this method to reverse her condition, and how the science of Bacopa Monnieri is being used to help people walk without pain again. I want you to take action on this right now before you try another stretch or pop another pill. I have linked the controversial investigative documentary that explains this complete protocol right below. To find it, if you are watching on your phone, just tap the title of this video right now. The description box will slide open, and you'll see the official blue link at the very top. I will also leave it in the first pinned comment for you. When you click that link, you will see a presentation that goes deeper into the Antarctic nutrient deficiencies and the creeping herb than we ever could in a short video. It will show you the exact ratios and the daily routine. Do not wait until the numbness becomes permanent. Do not wait until drop foot becomes a wheelchair. The body has an amazing capacity to heal, but only if you give it the raw materials it is screaming for. Try the tips we discussed tonight regarding diet and stopping the harmful stretching, but don't stop there. The real answer, the complete protocol, is in the report below. For BioVeritas Lab, I'm uncovering the truth your doctor didn't tell you. Watch the documentary now.